be showing you how I make homemade dog food for my dogs. It's just chicken, brown rice, peas and carrots. It's very simple and easy to make, but I want to put a little bit of a disclaimer before I get into showing you guys how. This doesn't have all of the vitamins and nutrients and things that you will find in a hard dog food or in a store-bought soft dog food. It's not meant to be your dog's primary food, and that's what they get for every meal. I started making this about a year ago, and my dogs only get a small amount in the mornings as kind of a treat, because when I got my first dog, she was a Chihuahua, she was 1.5 pounds, she was very sick, lost a lot of weight. Basically the vets told me if I couldn't get her to eat that she would die, and so I started feeding her wet dog food because that's the only thing that she would eat for her to try to gain weight back, and she loved it so much I couldn't bring myself to stop feeding her wet food. So I started giving it to her in the mornings, and then I started to make this because it was cheaper and it is healthy. It is all super good whole foods for dogs, but things like the nutrients and things like vitamins and stuff, they can't get everything from this kind of food. If you do give this more regularly or to a large dog, you can break a fish oil capsule into the food and mix it up. Don't give them too much of the fish oil because then they will get diarrhea. But so just kind of look up how much you're feeding them and how much fish oil. Like I said, I don't do that because my dog's primary food is a hard, dry food. This is kind of just like a little treat in the morning. So with that all being said, I hope you guys enjoy. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm going to do is start my water boiling so that I know that that's going to be ready. I use the biggest pot that I have, and then I don't want to fill it up too high because you are going to be adding the chicken to this water. So make sure you leave room, and you can always take some of the water out later on. Don't add salt to this because it is for the dogs, so you don't want to have a whole bunch of sodium in it. But if you're making like chicken for me and my husband to eat, I would cook it the same way, but I would add salt. So I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on it and turn it up and let that start boiling. I want to show you guys the kind of meat I'm using. This is just boneless, skinless chicken breast with rib meat. I buy it at Sam's Club, and today I'm running really low on their dog food that's in the freezer, so I am making 2 packages of this, but it's not an exact science how much chicken to rice you use. I just kind of estimate it every time, but this is the meat I'm using. As you guys can see, I've already started trimming it down. Occasionally I will find bones in chicken breasts still, so I always like to trim them and just feel them to make sure there's not any bones, because I would not want my dogs to accidentally eat that. So this is my rice cooker that I'm going to be using. I'll see if I can find it online and link it down below. It's just a normal standard rice cooker. This is my brown rice. My bag, it came in busted, so I just got this bag. The rice cooker comes with a cup that you use to measure it. I lost that, so I'm just going to be doing this and kind of estimating how much water to add in. You can just cook your rice on a stove in a pot. There's nothing wrong with doing it that way. Since I have this rice cooker, I am going to be using it. So this is a 1/2 cup measurement. And so since I'm doing the 2 packages of chicken, I'm going to be doing a good amount of rice, more than what I usually do. So let's see, this is 2 cups now, maybe 2.5 cups of rice. Should be about good for the amount of chicken. I would rather have more chicken than rice because chicken is the good protein. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the sink, and I always rinse my rice. I'm going to rinse it and then fill it back up with usually about twice as much water as there is rice. And then I'm just going to plug it in and hit the brown rice setting on here and go ahead and let that get started. Alright, so now I've got my water at a rapid boil, so I'm going to start adding the chicken one at a time, carefully, not to drop them in and make it splatter and burn myself. And then you want to make sure that all of the chicken, after you've added it, is covered in water. If you need to take some water out or add some water in, then go ahead and do that. So as you can see, I've got all of my chicken added to the pot. The water is extremely full, but that's okay. The most important thing is that you want to make sure that all of the chicken is completely under the water, that none of it is sticking up. Now, what we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and put the lid back on the pot, and I'm only going to let it, I'm going to Put the lid on the pot, let it come back up to a boil, let it boil for like 2 minutes. Leave the lid on, don't take the lid off. Turn your burner completely off and then let it continue to cook for, I start checking it around 20 to 25 minutes, and it's usually finished cooking between 30 and 35 minutes. But I just want to make sure, since we are going to be shredding it and things, I don't want it to overcook, so I'd rather keep checking it sooner than have it end up being like rubber. So after letting the putting the lid on, letting it come back up to a boil, and then turning the burner off and letting it boil, or then, yeah, turn the burner off and letting it sit with the pan still on the burner, not removed from heat, for about 25 minutes. I started checking the chicken, and it is finished. So what I do is I cut every single chicken in half just to check the center. You'll know it's done if there's no pink, or you can check the internal temperature if you have a cooking thermometer. So what I do then is I put it in the bowl of my KitchenAid, and I don't overfill it too much. This part does have to be done in batches, but I put about this much chicken in it, and then we're going to go over to the KitchenAid and we're going to start shredding it. So I'm going to use my KitchenAid to shred the chicken. If you don't have a KitchenAid, you can just do 2 forks and just kind of pull it apart. But since I do have this, I'm going to go ahead and use it. So this is the attachment that I'm going to be using. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this on and keep a close eye on it and go ahead and shred the chicken. So because this is for dog food, I don't want any big chunks. I want it to be very shredded, very small. So I just go ahead and let it go for a while, and till it's nice and small pieces. So this is the chicken that I'm going to be using for the dog food. I actually ended up keeping a couple of the chicken breasts out because I'm going to actually go ahead and shred that and then toss it in some barbecue sauce for me and my husband to eat for dinner. But this is the chicken that I'll be using for the dog food, and there is quite a bit in here. And so the rice is still cooking, but I am going to go ahead and add the peas and carrots. So I just buy these frozen bags of just peas and carrots, and I don't, like I said, I don't have an exact measurements that I use for this. I just kind of add the peas and carrots until it seems like the right amount. So I'm going to start doing that, and then I will show you kind of tell you how many I added. So this is starting to look good, but since I still have to add the rice, I know that there's going to be more going into it, so I'm going to go ahead and add the 3rd bag of peas and carrots. Alright, so this seems like a lot of peas and carrots now, but once we add the rice, they'll definitely seem like less. So I'm just going to go ahead and let this sit on my counter while I wait for the rice to get finished cooking. Alright, so the rice just finished cooking, and just from the rice cooker that I use. So now I'm just going to start adding the rice, and if it gets to where it looks like there's too much rice or something, then I will stop adding it. Alright, so now that I've got the rice and chicken and everything really well combined, this is what it looks like. Honestly, you could probably add a little bit more rice to it, but I wouldn't do too much more because you don't want it to be too overly carby. You want it to be mainly the chicken, which is the protein. But this is what it looks like now. What I do, obviously my dogs aren't going to be able to eat this much before it goes bad. So what I'm going to do is let it cool off till it gets about room temperature. And then I'm going to bag it up and quart size freezer bags. And you want to make sure they're freezer bags. And then I'll freeze them, and I will show you guys me doing that once this is cooled off. So now that the food has cooled completely, it is time to go ahead and bag it up. These are what I recommend you use, or the generic of this kind. So it is the freezer quart size bags. I know it's tempting to freeze it in gallons so you don't use as many bags, but I used to do that, and at one point my dogs got sick, and I think that it was in the fridge too long before they ate it because it was such big amounts in the bags. So now I freeze them in much smaller bags. It's worth it to me to spend extra money on bags and know that my dogs aren't getting sick because I'm accidentally serving them food that had gone bad. So, and also I use freezer bags because if you use a freezer bag, it's less likely to get like frostbitten and that kind of thing. So, I put probably about that much in each bag, maybe a little bit more. And then I just close it most of the way, and start pushing the air out, and then I kind of just roll it up and seal it like this, and then that is all there is to it. I'm gonna finish bagging up this food and then stick it in the freezer, and then I'll be all finished. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.
You two want this? You guys want it? Oh yeah. Oh, okay, here it comes.